You have got to be kidding me. Spoilers. Massively huge spoilers. Fairy Tail, episode 154. We're heading towards the finale. Zeref is back. And there are just those times one has to do a review on an episode of anime. And I am all fired up, to say the least. All fired up. Amped up beyond compare. I gotta calm myself down. That's all I can think about, really. Perhaps the most interested I've been in Fairy Tail so far due to this episode as we approach the finale. Oh, man. Oh, man. Moments like those, I'm referring to something, one thing in particular, just one thing. I only care about this one scene. I can't stop being full of hype. Oh, man. Gotta calm down. Gotta calm down. Gotta calm down. Keep getting amped up. So amped up over it. Needless to say, I think I'll be a fan. But the most perfect moment of Fairy Tail so far was it within the scope of this episode. Everyone knows what I'm talking about if you've seen it. Teased. Big League. Big League. As close as possible. And it was held back. You cannot do that. You cannot do that with the writing. You cannot do that. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Oh, working up a sweat here. What I'm referring to is Jalal and Ursa. Let's just say they had a bit of a moment, okay? Bit of a moment. Jalal is back. He wants to deal with Zeref and Acnologia. Why? Well, Jalal is so extremely troubled from his past, being possessed and doing bad acts. He wants to try and fix as much of the world from evil, from bad powers, to essentially redeem himself from his own past. He wants to toil away for as long as necessary, even if it destroys him. Urza, on the other hand, totally being there for him. I like that they kind of went off to the side and talked alone. Very, very key and indicates a bit of their closeness. And they have boatloads of history. Most I probably can't even remember, but the Tower of Heaven type thing, or whatever it was called. Them as little buggers. Urza, on the other hand, in contrast to Jalal, whereas Jalal kind of wants to redeem himself from the past and work for who knows how long, Urza just wants him straight up from the get-go now, to move on from his past. And this is all as well, keeping into account several years later type of a deal. Hadn't even thought of that much, but Urza said in there, not knowing if she'd see him again, type of a deal. But nonetheless, Urza wants him to move on from his past and live life and join Fairy Tail and that type of stuff. Jalal resistant, and they got into a verbal scuffle, and then they fell down a bit of a hill and got to the bottom. And you could tell this was just sliding in to one of the best moments to deliver. You know what it was all about very fast. The most perfect moment of Fairy Tail so far. So we get to our Urza Jalal moment. Everything about it was pretty darn spot on and perfect. Absolutely perfect. The only thing is they didn't follow through with it, which we'll get to, but so very close. But it ended up being not the kiss scene. They got so close, and Jalal pushed her away. He pushed back. He held back. But within that, she had teared up, and it was so beautiful. And the music, oh my gosh, was the music on point. This scene alone is enough for me to want to invest more into Fairy Tail and watch season 2. Definitely leaning more that way, even though I probably will only be able to react to the end of season 1 here. But it makes me interested in season 2, so they probably did it on purpose with the writing. And I definitely want to invest more into the show. So those are both very, very good signs and very well done with the writing. But this moment, everything was so perfect. It reminds me of a couple different anime where this has kind of happened, where there's this just perfect moment for the kiss scene, and it just doesn't happen. They don't give you what you want. That's kind of done on purpose with the writing, kick the can down the road type of thing. I'm still wearing the earphones from reacting to a couple episodes further on, but the implications of this whole thing, Urza was willing to be kissed by Jalal, totally, and he was willing to kiss her. And the moment, it was so perfectly crafted. The audio during this scene, oh my goodness. You talk about something that was spot on, in sync, in perfect sync. That was it. This all was it. This was reward. This was reward time. And they pulled back. But it was so beautiful. She teared up. Jalal kind of wiped it off her face and then went in for the kiss. Oh my goodness. And they did it so incremental and everything and how it unfolded. Oh my goodness. Very satisfying, even though we didn't get it. it kind of just highlights what could be. And, Urza and Jalal, I think they would be so good together. I think it's clear cut. He's stuck thinking about the past. She wants him to move on. Therefore, it would be very good of him. Very good of him to be an item. Very good for her to help him move beyond his past. All his wrongs. Of him being possessed and stuff. He's trying to repay it all with good deeds. But nonetheless, he can't undo the past. So I think Urza has the right. I think both of them kind of have a good view of things. But ultimately, Urza, I think, is the more right. He can do as much as he wants. That still does not make up for the past. And in some sense, it's kind of silly because he was possessed. So he wasn't in control. So, but nonetheless, he feels responsible. And that's a very honorable, very good character of him. But anyhow, Jalal pulls back, pushes her away, just rejects the kiss scene. It was Jalal. It was Jalal. Jalal was going in for it, but he stopped himself right at the last tenth of a second there. Right at the last tenth of a second. So this kind of teasing, essentially, gets everybody on board, and kind of within the writing, kind of saying, "Hey, this is what you want. We're gonna give you a taste, but we're gonna wait until later," type of a deal. I think that's kind of stuff what's going on. But he lies. He comes up with a lie. He says, "Oh, I can't kiss you. I have a fiancé," which made it crazy awkward for Urza and himself. Urza more so, I would suppose, because he lied. So he knows if it's false, she don't. So it was crazy awkward, because now she has to act like she didn't want the kiss, and she totally did. And he kind of blames himself because he shouldn't have went in for the kiss if he has a fiancé. And then it's almost like they start talking of the fiancé as though it were Urza. But they talk about it in a love type sense, and for him to live for her. So I think they kind of get a little sidetracked with the fiancé label and kind of talk of it as Urza right near the end there. And then after that, it alludes crystal clear. It gives you Urza's perspective, and she knows he lied. She knows him that well that he lied. That's pretty good. That's another sign of closeness. If a chick can tell that you lied, if she can pick up that you lied, that's a sign of closeness. That's a very good sign. Another little subtle nudge towards them, I would say. But it's very interesting. She knows he lied. So all in all, she seems to dig him. He digs her, but he's holding back. And she knows he's holding back. She wants him to move on. He don't want to move on. He wants to fix everything, possibly sacrifice himself. Which is where it brings us within this last bundle here, this last 25 episodes, up to 175. The outlook, considering this scene. It could have stuff to do with the finale. But it, in terms of him willing to sacrifice himself to try and right all the wrongs, that could have something to do with the finale. That could be a serious indicator of the finale. That's one of my only kind of things is for a finale. Oh, well, one typical writing type thing could be that a character dies off. But whether that's the case, I don't know. Is Jalal going to face off against Zareth and Acnologia with, let's say, Gildarts and others? Who knows? But in terms of the scene, I think this was teasing the goods for season 2. It's to get people interested in season 2. This was what it was. I think that's what it was. At this point, they would have known they were going to do a season 2. And I think it does a world for season 2. It spiked my interest. I was ready. I think I was pretty much ready to be done with Fairy Tail after this after ramping up this first season. But this scene, it teased some Mondo delivery for later on. And I think it will come about later on. And that should be really interesting, really rewarding. So I think the real deal of this scene is down the road in the season 2 or season 3. And so it's seriously postponed. So we got to get to that other rewarding moment. Now, whether or not, I don't think for this I got emotional or close to tearing up a lot or anywhere near crying. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to get me to cry. It's only happened twice, but for something that beautiful of a moment, I would hope to cry. And I'll do my best, but I also want it to be genuine. So kind of have to balance it out. I don't want people to be disappointed, but I want to be genuine as well and not fake it, But I would want to, because that was such a beautiful moment. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. And that's why I think it was the greatest, most perfect moment of Fairy Tail so far. They almost delivered. So close. It was like a 10th of a second away. And he pulled back. So that's kind of all I have to say about this episode of Fairy Tail. I wanted to just get at the core, get at the meat and potatoes of the episode. And I think for everyone that would have been the meat and potatoes. Wouldn't have made the review without such. So if anyone has anything else to add or what their thoughts are, feel free to say such in the comments. So this scene, I credit this scene that it has gotten me reinterested in Fairy Tail. They teased some meat and potatoes, didn't they? They teased some meat and potatoes. Oh boy, I was really amped. I've been amped for a day. An entire day. Can't stop thinking about this darn scene. Rewatched it a bit just right before the review to get amped so that it would be more genuine. When I'm amped off screen to something, usually by the time I get on screen, I get more casual. So I wanted to amp myself up to get back to do the review. That's what we did. So hope it was satisfying. But yeah, I think they threw out there that Jalal might sacrifice himself in the finale to redeem himself and take down Zareth and Acnologia. Other than that, if it tips the other way, I think this is a season 2 type of thing. And whether or not that was the purpose of it, to get folks interested in season 2, that's the effect it had on me. And certainly, I want to invest more into Fairy Tail at this point. So. I think it was a darn good job. So, I'm very satisfied from this episode. Very satisfying, even though it didn't follow through. Very satisfying. They teased it, brought massive attention towards it. And the audience knows what's going on. So, very interesting. They know at this point, pretty much, they dig each other. So I'm a total fan. I'm a total Urza Jalal fan at this point. Who can go against it once it's teased like that? My goodness, what a perfect scene. The audio, oh my goodness. The build up to it, the Urza crying. And Urza, oh my goodness. Usually thinking her of, such a tough swordswoman, tough as nails, and here with this is such a vulnerable type thing, so it's very contrast for her character. But in the romance regard, it is what it is for both sides. Vulnerable. So, and surely Jalal doesn't want to get. There's probably a lot more from Jalal's side I'm not thinking of. Him not wanting to get involved with Urza. It would be a distraction from what he's trying to accomplish, and if he gets involved with her and had died off, it would be worse for her. So he's really, really being very honorable. But I think ultimately Urza's take on it is the way to go. But it's not going to be for season 1. So who knows? I might have to deal with season 2 off camera, but it should be a fun ride. So, and it's been a joy to react to season 1. Not all of it yet, but we're getting there. So, I'm on the final bundle. Very interesting. So, anyhow, if you have any thoughts, comments, feel free. So, I will see you up ahead. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Who knows what we'll do next. And who knows when my last video is. Anything could change in a day. My computer could crash. I'd be pretty much done at that point with all this. So, even with what we have stocked up on reactions. But anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more. I will see you up ahead. As always, take care cool. Thanks for watching. And make sure to be passionate. This episode made me very passionate. Very passionate. Very amped. Very passionate. And because of that, I did the review. I did this review. So, show me the passion. Show me the passion you have for this episode. I really liked this episode. I loved this episode. Very good. Very good. I think Urza and Jalal would be a nice unit. So, anyhow, take her cool.